Design thinking. Yes, I think I've heard it, but what the heck is it? I mean, I've seen a lot of people using this design thinking term on LinkedIn, but I have no clue what this is. So I was in the similar situation a couple of weeks back until I made an effort to research about it, and that is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So stay tuned. So by definition, design thinking, it's a powerful approach wherein you are able to tackle the complex problems by designing innovative solutions. So it's all about putting yourself in the end user's shoes and understanding what their needs are, what their desires are, and then building solutions based on that. So yes, I mean, that sounds quite interesting, to be honest, and something very close to my heart, which is product management, right? Now, there are 5 steps to understand and execute design thinking. First is empathize. As the name suggests, this is the step wherein you need to really empathize with the end users. You need to be you need to be able to understand the end user at a very deep level. You need to understand what their desires are, what their needs are, more importantly, what their challenges are, what their current role is, what is it that they really need help in. So it's about empathizing. The stage is about being able to relate to the end user, because this is going to be the basis of anything that you do further. Now, product managers or in product management, this stage is called a user research phase, right? But how can you do it, right? So there are multiple ways wherein you can get this information from. You could do direct interviews, you could conduct surveys, you could meet with them one-on-one, either physically or virtually. You could gather insights from the market trend data that's available out there. So there are just a lot of ways to be able to gather the information. But the most important thing is that you need to gather that information and be able to empathize with the end user and understand it at a deep level on what is the problem that they are really facing. Now, the step 2 after empathy is define. What does that mean? Like, again, it's a little self-explanatory that once you identify it, what exactly is the user problem, you need to be able to articulate that very clearly. You need to be able to define that, because if you have defined the user problem very, very clearly, it's very important for any decision making going forward. Because if a problem itself is not defined clearly, the solution is going to be half-baked and the user needs are not going to be solved completely. So the defining step is really, really important on what exactly is the challenge that the end user is facing. Now, in product management, this is called product strategy. So first you empathize, you gather all the requirements, you do the user research, then you create a product strategy based on what problem they are facing and why there is a need for the solution. So these are the first 2 steps. In the first 2 steps, you've just got as far as identifying why. Now you must be wondering, what about the solution, right? This is where we go on to the step 3. Now, step number 3 is ideate, right? Again, this is quite obvious after you have defined the problem statement that you need to ideate. You have to get creative. You have to find what are multiple ways to solve a problem, because let's get realistic. There are multiple ways to solve a particular problem, and you need to find which is the most efficient one, which is the one that the user will like the most, because you've developed that connection with them. So this is where you will be ideating on a particular solution on what exactly do you want to build in your product. What is that experience that you want to provide? So you could use things like, you could do brainstorming, you could do mind mapping, you could create prototypes and sketches. So this is where you need to get really creative and come up with a solution that will solve the end user's problem. In product management, this is called the requirements building phase, wherein you define what the solution could be to the problem that you want to solve. Now, step number 4 is prototype. In the step 3, you were able to be creative and you were able to ideate and list down a lot of ideas. After this, you choose one idea and you create prototype out of it. Prototypes are basically the tangible representation of your ideas. See, right? So it could be, you could create a digital mockup, you could create a prototype, you could create a sketch. The goal here is that you want to get these validated by the end users. So you need to show them, look, this is what your solution is. This is the solution to your problem. Does this look good to you or not? You need to get that feedback. This stage In product management, we call it MVP, wherein we build the minimum viable product, and that usually starts with known development. Many of you might be mind blown at this time, but yes, MVP doesn't necessarily mean you need to start building out. It's a prototype phase wherein you need to get the mocks and the prototype and the sketches in front of the users and get their feedback. So this is a very initial and an important step in the development phase, because it's a sketch which has been developed. It's not a code which has been developed, but still there is some sort of validation, user validation, that which you can perform at this stage. It's quite powerful in my opinion. Now the last but not the least, the fifth phase is test. So with the prototype that you have, you need to be able to test various versions. You don't need to build just one prototype and get it in front of 20 users to get the feedback. What you could do and get smart with is you could create maybe 2 or 3 designs and then get those validated and get the feedback. So this is where you're actually testing and getting the real feedback from the real people, so that you are able to make changes to the designs or make changes to the solutions that you want to build. So this is a very important phase. In product management, this is called beta testing, wherein you choose a handful of beta testers who are usually the avid users of the product already, and they understand why their feedback is important. More importantly, they understand which feedback is going to be beneficial to them and every user of the product. So this beta testing phase is really important, wherein you are testing and getting your prototype or designs in front of the real users and gathering their feedback. The feedback could be, you could do one-on-one interviews with them and, just show them the design mock and get their feedback. Or you could, send it to them and get their feedback, but it's going to be too wordy and you might not get exactly what you want. You could do a survey with them after you have shown them. So there are multiple ways you can do that. Interviewing is usually the most effective one to get good results. Test it out, create multiple versions of it and test it with different sets of users. So you also need to be smart here in that you are creating different subsets of users. So you need to be smart here that you are using different subset of users. So maybe this set of users belong to demography. These set of users have this behavioral characteristic. So whatever that is, you need to create those subsets and get it tested by different people, so you get an idea of what is it exactly that you want to do. It's a very important phase in the design thinking, in the product management one as well. And that is all really. So looks like I already was using design thinking. I think many product managers are already using this design thinking. We just didn't know that there is a fancy term associated to it. So now we know. Hopefully this has been beneficial to you. So I think it's not just product management. It can be applied in any other discipline as well, because it's about mindset. It's about you approaching a problem with the right steps. Like, rather than going all hands into development and then realizing that this is not the problem that needs solving, or even if you've identified the right problem, this is not the solution that I wanted. Even if that solution was right, oh, this is not the way that I wanted it to look like. So there could be lots of wrong reasons you could fail. So design thinking is a way wherein you can identify all those things quite early. So I think this is a really powerful technique, as I mentioned earlier. If you found this helpful, do let me know via comments. Until then, see you all next week. Bye.